Good SEO means forgetting SEO and concentrating on your user. It also means forgetting SEO insofar as you're going to be trying to merge your different marketing strategies to create one bigger approach. It means trying to write amazing posts and share them on SEO so that you get more links, and it means writing great content that keeps people on your page longer. Stop thinking in terms of SEO and social media marketing and instead think about your SEO in terms of content marketing. Regardless of your strategy, there is no doubt that content is absolutely the most important asset when it comes to attracting traffic and impressing Google. But just what is content marketing? Content marketing is about creating content that will help Google to find your site and posts and to ensure you rank highly in the search engine results pages. While this is a powerful and useful effect, though, it's actually only one part of what content marketing is all about. At the same time, content marketing is about building a relationship on your site and ensuring that people begin to trust what you have to say. It means demonstrating your knowledge and point of view to the point where people seek you out as an authority. Once you get to that point, you'll be considered an expert in your field and you'll be able to greatly influence your audience, possibly influencing their buying behavior. So, how do you get to this point? Well, the key is to think about the sites and blogs that have influenced you over the years and the ones you read regularly. This isn't about building trust with Google, but rather it's about building trust with your readers so they want to keep coming back. The main thing normally is delivering value. Each post you create for your blog should provide some useful and or interesting information that is actionable. At the same time, it should offer something that isn't available elsewhere and it should be in-depth and comprehensive. This differentness is incredibly important and is something that all too frequently gets overlooked. If you're trying to stand out in a crowded niche, say the fitness niche, then it's not enough to simply write posts on how to get abs or how to lose weight. There are countless articles out there with the exact same title and subject matter. Instead, you need to concentrate on offering something that will be different, which might mean writing about an entirely new training method, or it might mean writing about something that examines the psychological motivation to train. Always ask yourself, would you read that content? Meanwhile, you need to be consistent in posting this kind of content and you need to be smart with your branding. Your brand needs to evoke your mission statement and your ethos. People should know from your website design and logo alone exactly what kind of subject matter you're likely to deal in and what they can expect from your site. This is also how you can build brand recognition and a consistent image across different forms of marketing, including on different forms of social media. Write for a specific type of person and try to make your brand into a movement with a clear objective. That way, people can actually get excited about you and will really get behind what you're trying to do. But the main goal is to offer consistent value and to become a source that people can start to trust. That way, when someone searches for an answer to a question, they might read your post and be impressed. If you then come up in the search results again, they might recognize you and be more likely to click your listing over the rest. Then they might decide to look around the rest of your content after they've been impressed a few times. Eventually, you'll become their go-to source for answers in your niche. Well done. You just won at content marketing. The key is to consistently deliver value so that people come to your site for answers. And this is also, ironically, what will get other good sites to link to your site. This is the perfect example of emergent SEO. In this case, you're working with Google by writing amazing quality content, and Google is rewarding you. This is how you truly grow in an organic way. And content marketing like this also makes a lot of sense from a business perspective. That's because people will be much more likely to buy from you if they recognize, know, and trust your brand. If all of this is sounding a little complex, you might be considering skipping the hard part by outsourcing your SEO. But can you trust an SEO company to do the best possible job for your site and for your brand? While there are a ton of great SEO companies out there providing valuable work and helping companies to reach new heights in terms of their exposure and profits, the unfortunate fact of the matter is that there are probably more not so great SEO companies. These are the companies that didn't get the memo when Google changed. They're the companies that still insist on keyword stuffing and link spam. Worse still are the companies that knowingly don't do anything and just take your money. And the problem is that it isn't easy to tell the two apart. How do you know if your SEO company is offering great value for money or whether it's actually just twiddling its thumbs and sending you large invoices every few months? Now, this isn't a problem you face with most other industries. If you hire someone to paint your fence, then at the end of the day, you can see the work they're doing and you can decide for yourself if you're getting your money's worth. Ultimately, your fence is either going to be painted or it isn't. There are no half measures. The same is true for cleaning companies and marketing consultants and for accountants. But when you hire someone to do SEO, you actually can't see the results right away. It can take months for SEO to have a positive impact on your site's ranking, and even when it's been done well, there's no guarantee you'll get to page one. And worse, most people don't have a comprehensive knowledge of SEO, and so they don't know what the companies should be doing to help them get the best results. How can you check on someone if you don't know what they're meant to be doing? In fact, even if you handle SEO yourself, it can still be hard to know if it's working or not. There are some metrics and tools you can use to measure how well your site is doing, though, and I'll talk about them in the next video. Because some SEO tactics take a while to bring traffic to your site, sometimes it's hard to track whether your SEO campaign is working or not, especially if you're outsourcing the process to an SEO company. One thing you can do, though, is to ask the SEO company to provide you with the metrics regarding the SEO campaign, and some of these metrics can be more useful than others. You can ask for the number of links that have been built, for instance. Ask for the page rank of the pages where those links have been built, although page rank is now largely a depreciated measure. And use everything you've learned in this video series to ensure that those are high quality links and not just link spam. You need to think about long-term results, not a short-term boost. And you can track changes in your position in the SERPs, that's the search engine results pages. Many SEO companies will use tracking software which lets them see your site climbing the rankings for different terms over time. They can use these to deliver you a report showing how your site has climbed since their intervention. If you're handling your own SEO, you might still choose to use a tracking tool in order to keep an eye on your success over time and ensure that your efforts are getting results. But what does any of this tell you? Because here's something else to consider. Getting to the top of Google is not the end goal. Even if you get to the top of Google, there's no guarantee this will bring more profits for your business because you need to ensure that the people finding your content are targeted and that those people are converting. Or to put it another way, all that really matters is the bottom line. If you're a business and you're paying for SEO, you'll need to know that you're getting more sales because of that SEO and you're earning more money. This way, the SEO is offering ROI, which means it's been money well spent. Savvy companies track the ROI of their SEO spend by using a tool called Google Analytics. This is the most well-known analytics tool for webmasters and marketers, and one particularly useful feature it has is the ability to set a goal and then track the traffic that makes it to that goal. If you're trying to sell a product, your goal might be the thank you page people get directed to after a purchase. This allows you to see not only that you're getting more traffic, but also that you're getting more targeted traffic that's actually converting. Better yet, Google Analytics will be able to tell you where those converting visitors come from. And specifically, you'll be able to see if someone who used your search term eventually ended up buying your product. These are people who have bought products from you because of your SEO efforts. If you hire an SEO company to help you rank for a certain search term, you're probably missing the point. A better way to approach this is to hire an SEO company to help you increase your profits or your brand awareness. Thus, the very best SEO companies are those which use a combination of different marketing tools, combining everything from SEO to social media to brand management. Part of this is choosing the right search terms. So, if you let your SEO company choose your search term and they don't increase your profits, they might be good at ranking, but it's not a good strategy. It's important to know whether ranking for the particular phrase you're interested in is actually going to translate into tangible results. The same is true if you're doing SEO on your own. And one way you can check how successful your SEO is likely to be before you spend lots of time and or money on it is to use PPC. PPC is of course pay per click. This is a type of advertising that involves paying each time someone clicks on an advert and visits your site. The two most popular PPC choices right now are Google AdWords and Facebook ads. It's equally important that you use analytics in your own SEO campaigns for the very same reasons. Good SEO is about constant iteration and seeing which actions are having the best impact on your tracking. Struggling to rank for a certain term? Then you can consider aiming for another one. Finding that people from an unexpected search term are converting more highly than those from other search terms? Then it might be time to switch gear and start trying to rank for that phrase instead. Setting up Google Analytics is thankfully rather simple. First, you need to head over to Google Analytics, which is google.com/analytics. And then you'll need to add a small tracking code to each page of your site. If you're using WordPress, you can also use a plugin to do this. Then you can set up your view, which will let you choose which stats you want to look at. Some useful things to look at here are your audience overview, and this is key data regarding who is looking at your site, which can help you to better target specific demographics. Acquisition, this is where your traffic's coming from. Real time, which shows you how many people are on your site right now, and the aforementioned goals. With what we've covered so far, you should now know everything you need to know in order to begin a modern and effective SEO campaign. The problem, though, is that, as we've already mentioned, SEO is something that is constantly evolving and changing. We already know that Google has a lot planned for its search algorithm in the future. And the first big change we can expect to see going forward is the introduction of a real time algorithm. This means any changes made to your site's SEO might be reflected immediately in the search results. This is expected to affect Penguin predominantly, which means it will have the biggest influence on inbound links and whether your backlink profile is mainly made up of high quality links or spam. In this case, adding a spam link to your site could result in an immediate downgrade to your ranking. Likewise, though, the reverse could also be true. Using the disavow tool could help you to see an immediate recovery, while a very good link could result in an immediate boost to your site. It's also not too much of a stretch to expect that in future we might see this start to apply to other aspects of SEO, including the ranking of sites and pages. We already see newspaper stories appear very quickly in Google's search results. So, what should you do to make sure that you'll benefit from these changes? How can you future proof your site in this regard? Well, one tip will be to stay on top of your links disavowing and to make sure you're constantly adding links and removing the unnecessary ones. In the future, bigger sites may need to have a whole dedicated team working on keeping their links profile healthy around the clock. Likewise, make sure to keep updating your site regularly and to keep the date as a schema in all your content. One good way to know what's coming in the world of SEO is to keep your eyes peeled to industry news sites and specifically to Google's own blog. Another is to think about the direction that Google is heading in and to try and guess what its larger plans are. And right now, everything is pointing towards a heavy investment in voice search and AI. Google is not just a search tool. With the capability of reading and understanding human language, Google is an AI. And what's more, it's shaping the way we develop our content, whether we like it or not. And it is embracing this more and more with each new update and each new product. Google Now is the name of Google's assistant service that combines search, digital assistant, and all the data that Google collects about us into one incredible tool. This is the real reason Google had to move towards latent semantic indexing. It needed to understand the content rather than just look for matches. And this is why Google needed to start using rich snippets and structured data so that it could understand the key facts from the web. This is what allows Google to use its quick answers box. Ask Google, how old is Barack Obama? And it won't just bring up a website, it will tell you. And Google also has localization and previous query functions. These allow it to suggest searches based on what you had previously searched for. For example, if you often research a particular celebrity, then in the future, Google might recommend searches relating to that celebrity. Google's personalized search also takes this into account, while its local search ensures that it will also be able to find results that are relevant to the area you're in. All of this combines when you use Google Now via voice search through Google Allo or Google's new Pixel phones. Here, you're able to conversationally ask Google what time it is, what the highest mountain in the world is, how high is it exactly, all that sort of stuff. This is the direction that Google is moving in, but what does it mean for the future of SEO? Will creators miss out when Google starts providing visitors with answers without them needing to visit our pages? For now, creators can start to focus on the Google Knowledge Graph, which is what powers many of the more complex components on the SERPs. Use semantic markups to ensure that Google will be able to find the answers to your questions. Build authority so that Google will know to trust your site, and try to use nouns in your language to make it machine readable. Being featured in Wikipedia is also thought to be useful for KGO, that's Knowledge Graph Optimization. Linking out to quality resources is also thought to be good for your KGO. Will you gain visitors from being featured in the knowledge graph? Well, perhaps not. But this is certainly an indication that you've gained Google's trust, and that can do a lot to help improve your brand awareness and to gain more trust from the users as well. For those reasons, it's certainly a worthy goal.